Leonardo da Vinci was a painter, architect, inventor, and a student of all things scientific. His natural genius crosses so many disciplines that he epitomized the term Renaissance man. Today, he remains best known for his art, including two paintings that remain among the world's most famous and admired, Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. Art da Vinci believed was indisputably connected with science and nature. Leonardo da Vinci was born in Anciano, Tuscany, now that is Italy, close to the town of Vinci that provides the surname with associated with him today. In his own time, he was known just as Leonardo or as Second Florentine, since he lived near Florence and was famed as an artist, inventor, and thinker. Da Vinci received no formal education beyond basic reading, writing, and math. However, Da Vinci never completed that piece because shortly thereafter he relocated to Milan to work for the ruling Sforza clan, serving as an engineer, painter, architect, designer of court festivals, and most notable as a sculptor. The family asked Da Vinci to create magnificent 16-foot tall equestrian statue in bronze to honor the dynasty founder Francesco Sforza. Da Vinci worked on the project on and off for 12 years, and in Leonardo da Vinci and the Last Supper and Mona Lisa. Although relatively few of Da Vinci's paintings and sculptures survive, in part because his total output was quite small. Two of his extant works are among the world's most well-known and admired paintings. The first is Da Vinci's The Last Supper, painted during his time in Milan from about 1495 to 1498, a temporal mural on plaster. The Last Supper was created for the refectory of the city's monastery of Santa Maria della Grazie, also known as the Cenacle. This were measured about 15 by 29 feet and is the artist's only surviving fresco. It depicts the Passover during which Jesus Christ addressed the apostles and says, "One of you shall betray me." One of the paintings is seller further if each apostle distinct emotive expression and body language. Its composition, in which Jesus is centered among yet insulated from the apostles, has influenced generations of painters. Leonardo da Vinci later years. Da Vinci left Italy for good in 1516, when French ruler Francis I generously offered him the title of premier painter and engineer and architect to the king, which afforded him the opportunity to paint and draw at his leisure while living in a country manor house, the Château of Cloud, near Beauvais in France, although accompanied by Melzi, to whom he would leave his estate. The bitter tone in draft of some of his correspondence from this period indicate that Da Vinci's final years may not have been very happy ones. Melzi will go on to marry and have a son, whose years upon his death sold off Da Vinci's estate. Da Vinci died at Cloud in 1519 at the age of 67. He was buried in Irvine in the Palace Church of Saint Florentine. The French Revolution nearly obliterated the church, and its remains were completely demolished in the early 18, making it possible to identify Vinci's exact gravesite. Da Vinci's parents were unmarried, and his mother Caterina, a peasant, with another man while Da Vinci was very young and began a new family. Beginning around age 5, he lived on the estate in Vinci's that belonged to the family of his father, Ser Piero, an attorney and notary. He was illegitimate. Da Vinci was born in 1452 near Vinci, in what is now Italy region of Tuscany. He was unschooled, many of his works are unfinished, he was persecuted, he had militant side. Leonardo da Vinci, his estimated IQ scores range from 180 to 220 by different measures. He is one of the most celebrated painters in history, revered for his technological innovations such as flying machines and a modern vehicle, concentrated solar power, and adding machines. The Louvre Museum de Mona Lisa hangs behind bulletproof glass in a gallery of the Louvre Museum in Paris, where it has been a part of the museum collection since 1804. It was part of the royal collection before becoming the property of French people during the Revolution in 1787 to 99. Leonardo did not remove his ear. The painter Vincent van Gogh is said to have cut off a portion of his ear. That's completely false. The Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci and is believed to be a portrait of Lisa Gherardini, the wife of Francesco Giocondo. The unique fame that Leonardo enjoyed in his lifetime and that, filtered by historical criticism, has remained undimmed to the present day rests largely on his unlimited desire for knowledge, which guide all his thinking and behavior. An artist by disposition and endowment, he considered his eyes to be his main avenue to knowledge. To Leonardo, sight was man's highest sense because it alone conveyed the facts of experience immediately, correctly, and with certainty. Hence, every phenomenon perceived became an object of knowledge, and Zipper Bender became the great theme of his study. He applied his creativity to every realm in which graphic representation is used. He was a painter, sculptor, architect, and engineer, but he went even beyond that. He used his super intellect, unusual powers of observation, and mastery of the art of drawing to study nature itself, a line of inquiry that allowed his dual pursuits of an art science to flourish. In 1482, Leonardo moved to Milan to work in the service of the city's duke, a surprising step when one realized that the 30-year-old artist had just received his first substantial commission from his native city of Florence. The unfinished panel painting Adoration of the Magi for the monastery of Santa Nota Scopeto and an altar painting for the San Bernard Chapel in the Palazzo della Signoria, which was never begun, that he gave up. Both projects seems to indicate that he had deeper reasons for leaving Florence. It may have been that the rated sophisticated spirit of Neoplatonism prevailing in the Florence of the Medit went against the grain of Leonardo's experience-oriented mind, and that the more strict academic atmosphere of Milan attracted him. Moreover, he was no doubt enthused by Duke Ludovico Sforza's brilliant court and the meaningful projects awaiting him there. Leonardo spent 17 years in Milan until Ludovico's fall from power in 1499. He was listed in the register of the royal household as a victor ad Ingenarius Ducale. Leonardo's gracious but reserved personality and elegant bearing were received in court circles. Highly esteemed, he was constantly kept busy as a painter and a sculptor, as a designer of court festivals. He was also frequently consulted as a technical advisor of the field of architecture.